Hi everyone, I've seen a lot of you have troubles with local fog and don't know how to make it work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not. So I decided to make this video from scratch with you just to create the whole process step by step together, and you will be able to see how the thing works and what you should do to make it work. So the first thing you have to do is going to edit project settings, search for fog here, and be sure the sky support atmosphere affecting fog is enabled. It's the case if you create a project with UE5.1 or UE5. I mean, I guess it's already enabled on the 5.0.3. But if you updated your project from UE4, it's not enabled by default. So be sure this one is enabled. What it does, it simply take the position of the sun to get the good colors on your cloud, on your fog, sorry. So yeah, that's it. It's better like this. Or if you don't enable it, you will keep the colors, and if you make something in night, you will see your fog with the default color. So I think it's blue or something like that. So be sure this one is checked. Be careful, you will need to restart your project. When it's done, just need to create a new folder. I will call this one effects. I will create a new folder on this one and name it local fog. Here I will import a textures. It's a textures available in the starter content. If you don't have the starter content on your project, you can add it by clicking on the add button here and click on add features or content pack. And here go to the content and you can put this one. I don't have this because there are a lot of stuff pretty useless for me. I only need the textures. So I exported the textures and I will import this one in the project directly. So it's the basic plugin noise. So the thing you have to do is to open it and uncheck the RGB checkbox because this one is a linear color. It's a grayscale texture, not a color texture, so it's not needed to have the sRGB here. And when it's okay, you just need to save and create a new material. I will call this one for master material and call this one local fog. I open it and I will just make it here. The textures here is for the movable part, so the second part of this video. The first part will be uniform local fog. So here you have to change the material parameters here. The domain doesn't change, I don't think so. Yeah, it changed. It's the volume, the blend mode. So check the material domain, switch to volume here, and on blend mode, switch from opaque to additive. Here, you should get something like this. So now you have it, we are able to work. So the first thing we have to put is a world position. Keep this one as default. So world position with including the material should offset like this. And here we will need a transform position. It's the position, okay? And now we have to change the parameter by default. We need to change the source for absolute wall space and the destination for local space here. It's probably where a lot of you have trouble because by default is not correctly set up. You have the information if you read the small line here, but on YouTube or on Instagram, it's pretty hard to see this. So it's probably where the thing is a big trouble. You can expand the thing like this just to see the results. It's not available on the previous version, but now it is. So now you can see how the thing is set up. Now we need to subtract this position to the object boundaries, the object bounds. Okay, so do a right click and search for object local bounds. And here we will plug the local bound minimum, the first output you have here, and put this one on the B slot of the subtract. Now we need a divide. So this one, just click on D and press D and click. It will automatically generate the divide for you. And here we have to plug the local bound size. This part will take the shape or the bound of your models. Okay, I will use a cube, so I will take the limit of the cube and try to recenter this. By default here, it's not centered. I mean, if you plug the thing directly in the extension here, you will see a demi-sphere visible, and not a complete sphere. So we need to offset it. So to offset it, you just need to add a distance node. Sorry. It's the distance, only distance, not everything here. It's on utility here. Just take the distance. Now on the B, we will have a constant set up to 0.5. This one will make the offset of your sphere. So this one will be in the center of your model. Okay. And now we have to multiply this by a constant. I plug a constant here, even if I can set up the thing directly here, just by a bit, and just to be sure everything is easy to read. Okay. So I will generate a new constant, and I will set up this one at 2. This one is to make the sphere more visible. Okay, you can just multiply this a bit more if you want, but for me 2 is a good one. And now we have, if we take a look at this one, I will simply put this one on the extension. I'm not sure it will make a big difference, so I will plug a color in the albedo. So I will simply press V to generate a vector parameter, and I will call this one color. Plug this one, put this one at white, like this, and plug it on the albedo. Now if I apply this, if I go back to my content browser, create a master instance like this, and go in the center of the word. So I will take a cube, drag the cube on the viewport, hit F on this one. Okay, I'm not in the middle of the word, but it's not that important. Okay, and on this one, I will plug my instance. So I select my instance, I go to details, and I click on the small arrow we have here. After a small, this one is a good one to show you why it doesn't work, because by default on this word, the 8 fog, the 8 fog is not as volumetric. To make it volumetric, you have to select this one, or search here for fog on the outliner, take the 8 fog here, scroll down, and check the volumetric fog. Now it's okay. Put the scattering to 0.6 to make it more visible. Okay, we have some shaders. And now, as you can see, all my square is visible. This is not what we want, because if we keep the thing like this, as you can see, it's pretty visible, okay? It can be a good stuff if you want to make a fog only in a room or in a specific area. It can be good, but I prefer to use a sphere, okay? So to use a sphere, we simply need to invert the result. So to invert the result, we simply need to take the multiply here and generate a 1 minus on this one. Plug the 1 minus in the extension now, apply, and now you will see your fog only in the middle of your bound or your models, as you can see, like this. So this can be an option you can enable and disable whatever you want. But yeah, by default, I prefer a sphere than a square, but it's personal. If you prefer to use a square, you are able to do that. So this one works a bit better. So it should work directly. You have nothing to do more than just check your 8 fog is affected by the skylight, and the exponential 8 fog is set up correctly. By default, at 0.2, this one will be a bit weird. As you can see, this is not the best. So 0.6 is the best. You can also take your skylight, sunlight, sorry, so your directional light here, and push in the parameters the volumetric scattering intensity. More you will have, more your fog will be visible. If I push this one at 3, you'll see this one is more visible. If I push at this one at 10, it's a lot more visible. It depends on your work, of course, and what you want to do. It's not the best to use the thing as it is, because as you can see, it makes a big difference. So to control that, we need to plug a parameter to be able to control the opacity. So to do that, you simply need to, I will simply duplicate my multiply and my constant here by do a control D. Now I will connect everything on the extension, and I will do a right click on my constant to generate a parameter, so a scalar parameter, and I will call this one opacity. And by default, this one will be at 0.1. It's clearly enough, you will see. And now just save. When you save, it apply automatically. And now if you open the instance of your cube, so you can select the cube here by simply clicking on this one. If it doesn't work, you need to press T to enable the selection of translucent object. And now I'm able to change the color and control the opacity of my thing. If you go on the minimum or a negative value, you will get these things. I don't know if it's really interesting, but you know how it is. So by default, it was at 1. There is no post-process on these things. No. I will disable the auto exposure by going to lit and uncheck the game settings and put the evo at 0. Maybe -2, -1. -1 is good. And yeah, so this is the first part. This is the uniform fog. Now it's time to talking about the dynamic one or the movable one. So to make the movable part here, we will need to add a few nodes, of course, and a new logic on the top. But before to do that, I want to comment what we've done already, just to be sure we will be able to understand what we've done when we will come back on this one. So take the world position. I will plug this one as it is because I will use this guy just to make the older logic, okay? And now we will select all the node from the transform position to the 1 minus. Don't take the multiply in the opacity because this one is out of our logic. And just make some space, hit C, and name it uniform local fog. And now we have the logic. We know what that means, okay? And now we are able to work on the movable part. So to do that, take your absolute world position, draw a line, and search for a component mask. The component mask by default take the X and the Y axis for the red and the green channel, okay? This is exactly what we want, so it's perfect. Now to control this, so here is the logic of the tiling of your textures, of our textures, of the mask we will use. So to be able to control the tiling of this one, we will need to set some parameters. But by default, with the world position, the value are pretty small. It goes from 0.000001 from 1,000, okay? So we need to just restrict these things. We will never go higher than maybe 1, you know, but just instead of put a value of 0 with 50 and after that the good value, we will just divide our parameter with by 1,000 just to make the thing more easy to set up. So to do that, we will do a right click, search for a scalar parameter. This one will be our parameter, so it will be named mask size, and by default it will be at 0.01 like this. This value will be divide, so press D and click, plug your mask size to the A input by a constant of 1,000. So you should see the thing like this. So take your mask size, plug this one on the A of the divide, and on the B on the divide, just create a new constant with a 1,000 by default value, like this. Nothing more that complicated than this. Generate a multiply now, just to multiply our axis with our parameter, so the component on the A and the divide on the B. And now to make everything move, we need to use a node named Apana. You can do a right click and search for panel, or click on P and press to generate it. And plug the multiply and take the multiply and plug this one on the coordinate input. Now we have to control the speed, x and y. And as you can see, this one is a vector too. That means is control the x and the y value. Okay, the x and the y axis. And if we put a scalar parameter on this one directly, we will not be able to control the x and the y independently. This is what we want. So to do that, we have two choices. The first one is the tough one. I mean, for the one who's not don't want to lose their time, they will generate a vector parameter, name this one speed, and plug some value and simply plug the RGB directly here, like this. It will work. It will work well, but it's not perfect. I mean, you do that if you don't have the time. Okay, we will take the time to make that thing work. So remove this one, and instead of using this hard way to do, just do a right click and search for append vector. This one is a vector to combiner, if you want to see this as it is. I will plug a value on A, I will plug another value on B, and when I will connect the thing, it will understand that A means the speed of the X and the B means the speed of the Y. So plug this on the speed, and here on A and B, I need two parameter. So take the mask size, do a Control D, and name this guy speed, if you want to work, speed X with a default value of 0, duplicate it by Control D, and just name this one speed Y. Plug the Y on the B, the X on the A, and now we are able to control the speed independently. Okay, I want to see this moving on X-axis only, on Y-axis only, or both. Now I have the choice. Okay. And now to finish, to make the thing works well, we simply need to import our textures. So go back to your content browser, take your T-Plone noise, drag this on the local on your material, and just drop it, and it will be available. Do right click on this guy, convert it to parameter, and name this one mask. When it's done, take the panel and plug this one on the UV input of your mask. And now, if we multiply our mask, I will take the red channel. You can take the RGB if you want, but I want to take the red one because it is how it's supposed to work when you work on the grayscale textures. If instead of using a multiply, we will use a lerp, the RGB will not work because the lerp needs only one axis, one vector. Okay, and this is a 3 vector. It's just to remind you if sometimes you will work on textures, on grayscale textures and with a lerp, this is what it doesn't work, okay? So if I multiply my mask with my 1 minus, and if I plug this one on the multiply with the opacity, I will be able to see something move. I will open my instance, and by default, it doesn't move because I don't have any speed. It moves anyways, okay? I don't know why, because yeah, I have the speed on this one, so. Yep, by default, this is what you have. And if we take this speed X and put this one at 0.1 or 0.5, you will see something move. Something moving, maybe. Sorry, I'm a French guy. The English is pretty hard. The French is pretty hard. My V is pretty hard. My life story is pretty hard. So you'll be able to control the thing. But as you can see, it's not that sharp. You know, we see some things moving, but yeah, I need to go on the top to see the real things. I don't want to go on the top. I want to be able to see this with a player view or with my near floor camera. So to do that, we will need to add a last parameter or last node who is give us the control of the sharpen. And to do that, just you need only a 3-point levels. Do right click and search for 3-point levels. This one just give you the control of the black, the gray, and the white value of a grayscale texture. So that's it. It's nothing more complicated than this. So just instead of plugging our textures directly with the multiplier, we will put our textures, put it on the 3-point level, and put the 3-point level in the multiply. But before to apply or save, we have to plug some parameters here. And now you have the choice. Use scalar parameter as it is until now, or use a vector parameter. So to do that, just press V, click, and name this one mask controls. Plug a value on R as 0.5. The R is at 0, the green is 0.5, and the blue is 1. Now it's pretty hard to understand what we've done, but just see this guy has a small toolkit of parameters, okay? So instead of using 4 different scalars parameter, as it is, so 4 green box, I will use 1 box for 4 parameter. Here I just need 3 parameters, because you can go up to 4, okay? But as you can see, it's hard to understand where is my low, where is my white, where is my middle, where is my white, gray, and white value. So to do that, you just need to take your mask control here, your vector parameter, scroll down until parameter customization, and spend channel name, expand channel name here. And now you are able to control the thing. The R is a black value. The green is the gray value. And the B is the white value. Like it is. To me, on my side, I named this parameter low, mid, and high. But just to make the thing easy to understand, it's probably better to name it black, gray, and white. Okay, you are not forced to use the value suffix here, but just to make the thing easy to understand for everyone, I want to make it more than less. Okay, so plug your black value in the new black, the gray value in the new middle, and the white value in the new white here. And now, if I save it, and if I go back, you can apply and save or save directly, it's really up to you. I will be able, in my instance, to control the sharpness of my texture. So as you can see here, it's pretty hard to understand and to see. Of course, it depends on your mask. If you have a mask more contrasted, the result will be more visible. But if it's not the case, as our case now, just enable the mask control and put the gray value at 0. And now you will be able to see better the thing. Okay, you can go in negative because you will make something really weird, but with 0 as value, it's good. You can also push the white value just to see some things a bit more visible, or by pushing the value at 0.5 just to make this a bit more faded. Yeah. Now again, it's up to you. Of course, you can push the black value here, but you will use almost all the details. But again, all the parameters depends of what you want and the mask you use. So the last thing we have to do, because wrap up this video, it's to comment everything and adding some parameters to be able to enable or not the movable fog. Okay, so first of all, I will take my dynamic logic or movable logic, all my node, hit on C, and name this one movable local fog, like it is. And now I want to put a parameter that allows me to enable or disable this movable part. So do a right click and search for static switch parameter. Name this one movable fog. And this node for the beginners who don't understand what it is just a question mark, okay? What happens if I check? What happens if I uncheck? Okay, so if I check the box, that means true. It's enable. If I uncheck, that means false. It's disable. If it's enable, I want to use the multiply with the movable local fog with my uniform local fog. Okay, and I just name this one. You know, it's good. It's good. I thought I will misspell this one, but no matter. So if I want to use the movable fog, I just check the box and it will take this logic here. So the one we have with the movable and the local one. If I don't want to use the movable, I'll just use the local one. So I plug this one with the 1 minus only. And I plug this parameter in the multiply who is control the opacity. So now the question is pretty simple. If I use the movable, I will take my logic here. And if I don't want the movable, I will use this logic here. When it's okay, just do a save. And by default, this one is disabled because I don't want to use the movable every time. I want to use just the uniform one by default. But if you want to use the movable fog by default, you just have to check the default value here. And by default, it will be enabled. That's it. And now if I go back to my level, this one is a uniform one because my parameters here is unchecked. But if I check it, I go back with what I had on this parameter. And now the last part, the real last part, is to just sort the group and sorting everything just to make the thing, again, easy to understand, okay? So to do that, you simply need to take our movable fog here and name this one, not here, just go to group, so take your node, and here you have a matter expression, the group of this part, and you can name this one fog or a local fog, like it is, okay? Or we can even work on just movable part, because this is not a function, so movable part is good. Put the sort priority at 0 because this is the first parameter I want to see in my list. Okay. After that, what I want to see when I check my option, what is the second parameter I want to be able to change? This is for me, but it's up to you, the textures. So I will take my mask, go to group, click on the small arrow, choose movable, and put the sort priority to 1 here. And after that, I want to be able to control the size. So take the mask size, take the group, put it on, click on the group, put it on movable, and put this one at 2. After that, I want to be able to use the speed, X and Y. So again, take the movable, put this one on 3, speed X, movable, 4, and after that only, I want to be able to control my mask control here. So movable, and put this one at 5. And now it keeps the opacity default. I'll just leave this alone. Okay, you can put it on params. Yeah, put this one within a group named params. Here, put this one at 1, and take your color, go to params, and put this one at 0, like this. Save it, go back here, and now your instance is sorted. And that's perfect. So if I want to use the movable part, I enable it and I have all the parameters after that. And if I don't want to use this one, I uncheck it, all the parameters disappear, and I keep the parameters by default. Of course, you can put everything into one group only and sorting the thing as you want, but here it's really up to you with how I use to work. It's probably totally different for you, but it's okay. You have to just rearrange the thing by your own. Now it's done. I guess you have now a perfect workable local fog material If it's not the case, just let me know in the comments and we will see together how it doesn't work for you, but it should work now. You have all the information about it to make it work. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.